There are growing calls for middle powers to come together for joint action on matters of common interest, and the head of a leading French think tank dedicated to issues of Asia is highlighting the need for such partnership between South Korea and France. Our foreign affairs correspondent Oh Soo-young files this report.
Seoul and Paris must make their partnership instinctive and institutional to jointly counter global challenges. That's according to Arnaud Leveau, a French foreign affairs advisor and academic leading the Asia-Centre. His remarks come as South Korea and France mark 140 years of diplomatic relations, at a time when both countries face mounting geopolitical challenges, particularly in the Indo-Pacific.
In that sense, the France-Korea relationship can become a testing ground for a new kind of partnership between middle power democracies, one based on realism, sovereignty and shared responsibility, not only on ideology and not on dependence.
America's demand for its allies to increase their own security, regional economic coercion and tensions over trade, minerals and emerging technologies, the prolonged war in Ukraine and North Korea's partnership with Russia are further changing and merging strategic calculations for East Asia and Europe.
For France, it's like we need more and more partners like Korea, because Korea understands deterrence, credibility and long-term pressure, because South Korea live with it every day. So I will say that France and Korea share a very pragmatic view on security. Both countries know that peace requires strength, but also self-control. So I will say strength without provocation and firmness without escalation.
From military and industry to technology, space and supply chains, Leveau believes potential for deeper partnership lies in both national and economic security and new strategic domains where larger powers are competing for dominance.
The first one will be maritime security and the protection of global commons, meaning that both countries, South Korea and France, depend on open sea lines, freedom of navigation and stable maritime space. So we can think to go from joint naval exercise to information sharing. But France and Korea can do much more to protect the rule-based order at sea, not against anyone, but to guarantee the stability.
France's foreign ministry says around 30 bilateral dialogue channels already exist across diplomacy, defence, economy and science. However, the professor says an instinctive trigger for cooperation is currently lacking.
Both countries share democratic values, a long diplomatic history and strong people-to-people ties. But I will say that maybe strategically the relationship is still under-institutionalized. There are a lot of cooperation, but there is no strategic reflex yet. And what I mean by co-constructions, maybe it's to work for joint ownerships in terms of industry, technology, security, normative projects, maybe for instance in AI regulations, but also in the development of defense capabilities, cyber resilience, supply chains and standards.
Going forward, Leveau hopes to see tangible progress at the next Leaders' Summit expected this year.
A meaningful outcome of leaders' meeting will be the elaboration of a shared strategic framework, one that defines clear priorities to identify concrete projects and create continuity beyond political cycles. And so I will say we need more symbolism and more architecture.
Officials say Seoul and Paris are moving to deepen strategic cooperation through high-level talks between foreign ministers and possible reciprocal visits by Presidents Lee Jae-myung and Emmanuel Macron. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News, Paris.